Steven Crowder, if you can hear the sound of my voice, please stop talking about your divorce. Welcome back, or welcome to Uncle ABL, and in today's video, we're talking about Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder and his very public divorce. Now, you may or may not know who this person is. It doesn't really matter. When I explain what's going on, it's going to make sense for this case and for anyone dealing with a divorce, and quite frankly, dealing with women. Let's go back a little bit. Steven Crowder, who is this guy? Well, he's a very well-known figure on social media, YouTube specifically. He has millions upon millions of subscribers. He's kind of a conservative voice, I guess you would say, maybe even kind of centrist libertarian, but known as a conservative voice. And he is going through a very public divorce. Now, the reason why it's public is because he's been talking about it a lot. He's made videos on his channel talking about the divorce. He has his CEO, a guy by the name of Gerald, doing the whole episode of Louder with Crowder, 30 minutes talking about the divorce and suing people, suing his ex-wife. There's a whole lot going on. Now, I want to say one thing before we get into all the details, all the drama. Crowder could be right with what he's saying as it relates to his ex-wife and things that she's doing. Well, not ex-wife. I guess you would say estranged wife, because they're going through a divorce. He could be right, but guess what? It doesn't matter. When you go to the court of public opinion as a man, when you're the leader, when you are the top dog and you do things like this, it doesn't help you. All that it does is hurt you, because the opinion of me, the opinion of all you guys doesn't matter. What matters the most? Anybody who's gone through a divorce, what matters the most? The opinion, the ruling of the judge. That's it. And when you do things like this, it doesn't help, because it's going to get brought up in court. So it's like, what are you doing? Why would you even do this? It's really crazy, but we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and show a video from Gerald. This is the CEO of Louder with Crowder, and he's going to talk about what's happening as far as a lawsuit. Crowder is suing his estranged wife and a former coworker by the name of Jared. You guys may know him as quote unquote not gay Jared. We'll get to Jared in a minute, but here is Gerald, the current Louder with Crowder CEO. Check him out. A little bit of sound and let's roll it.
Hillary is not doing that. And so this company, Hillary is not doing that. And so this company is suing Hillary for extortion against us. We filed a lawsuit against Hillary, her family, and media reps for tortious interference and their extortion conspiracy scheme, which I will lay out in detail.
So Steven Crowder, or I guess maybe even Louder with Crowder, the company, they're suing Hillary Crowder, the wife. Sir, you're going through a divorce and you're trying to get custody of your twin boys, toddlers, I suppose at this point. They were babies when the actual divorce started happening. You're suing her for conspiracy? Like, what are you doing? Why do that?
I take no pleasure in that. I wish everybody would go and just do the right thing and we could all get on with our lives. And you can tune into this show and see updates about news, comedy, everything that you love about this show. Additional content from great people that you love to hear from. But unfortunately, I can't do that today. I hope we can get back to doing that very soon. In fact, we will tomorrow. But I hope we never have to address this kind of stuff again.
So that's what he said. This is a snippet of a 30-minute episode of the show talking about the legal issues, talking about Jared, talking about Hillary. It's like, when you're going through a divorce, all this should be kept under wraps. Even if she comes out and says things, which I don't think was happening, even if she comes out and says things, you don't say a word as a man, as a leader. You want to be a trad kind. You want to have a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife, all this and that. You can't do stuff like this. You just can't. Even if you're not a trad kind, you're not a conservative guy, this kind of thing does not help you. Now, let's go and get a little bit more context, because you might be a little bit lost. This is a video from a Ring camera that came out while Hillary was pregnant with the boys. Okay, this is before all this drama exploded. Now, some are going to say, well, look, ABL, this is a cherry-picked video to make Hillary look good, to make Crowder look bad. See, you got to understand, all women are going to have stuff like this in the tuck. Every time you said something to them that was a little bit offensive in their mind, every time you were a little bit mean, anytime where you did something like this, they're going to remember it. They're going to put it in their diary. They're going to take the video and save it because they got to have ammunition against you, leverage against you in case this kind of thing happens. Now, if you're the perfect gentleman, you're not doing anything wrong, this may never come out. Now, you could be a gentleman, never do anything wrong, and it still come out. But I don't think that's the case with Steven Crowder. I think Steven Crowder has a lot of issues that we're going to get into, and that's why this video came out. And the trying to sue her and doing episodes, a lot of recruit about the divorce, this kind of thing kind of lets me know that he has some serious issues. And like I said from the beginning, he should stop talking about it, and that might kind of lessen the damage he's facing right now. But of course, I don't think that is what he wants to do. Let's watch this for some context. Then we're going to get into a little bit more.
Because I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I do have
steaks, wood pellets, my grill.
What's happening right here is that he's controlling access to the vehicle. Now, understand this. Steven Crowder is a pretty rich guy. He has a lot of money. I'm sure he has millions of dollars in cash in his pocket right now. I'm sure. If he doesn't, then I find it hard to believe. Why do you only have one car? You know what I think? You know what my opinion is? And before Crowder or Gerald or anyone tries to sue ABL, this is just my opinion. I have the right to my own opinion. I'm not on the NDA like Jared was. Okay, you can't control me and my thought process. I'm not married to you. I'm not your employee, your former employee, nothing like that. But anyway, in my opinion, I think the reasoning behind having one car is to control his estranged wife and her movements. Same thing with Jared, the former employee. You want to put an NDA on him to prevent him from being able to go to other places and work, to prevent him from speaking his mind in a way that in some kind of way could impact you negatively and impact your money. Okay, you want to control people all around you, but in reality, that controlling aspect is what's making them retaliate against you. You don't understand that. You don't really get it. But let's continue.
I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes. How do you man? How do you man? Receive love and respect. No. How do you man? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you are not.
Then I will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not about Steven.
Give it an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
Controlling. This is a controlling thing because why don't you just have two cars? I have two cars and I'm just one person and I don't have the kind of money that Steven Crowder has. Okay. I'm not outside. I don't have 2 miles of radius outside. I have regular Fords outside. I don't have luxury vehicles. It's not even the point. You just got to have another way to move around. This is a controlling mechanism. All right. This is what I noticed from the beginning. And it's the same thing he's doing right now to the former employee. We're going to get to that right now. Okay. This is Jared, formerly known as Not Gay Jared from Louder Crowder. He is now a former employee, and he is saying that he's being constrained by Crowder. It's been years since he worked for him, but he's still facing legal harassment. Check it out.
Enough is enough. This can't go on any longer, and as the famous saying goes, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So, here we go. I'm currently being legally abused and intimidated into silence by a former employer. This has been going on for a while now, and it simply cannot live in darkness for another day. But I am asking for your help to fight back. First, some context. In late October of 2023, to my surprise, I was served these papers. A cease and desist from my former employer. It threatened severe legal action in the form of a lawsuit and demanded I cease communications with my friends. The scare tactics of cease and desist are generally to intimidate, isolate, and eventually devastate. Like most cease and desist, it also demanded that I swiftly provide them written certificate of my compliance. I did not. In the same delivery, I was also served these papers. A Rule 202 petition from my former employer. You can look that up on the internet. I know I had to.
Now, make a long story short, this was before an NDA was signed, from what I'm able to pick up. And if I got that wrong, let me know in the comments. And since there was so much legal harassment, and then it became expensive because he has no lawyer money like that, he's not as rich as Crowder is. Crowder has lawyers and all this kind of stuff. Is pretty much bullying them into signing an NDA just to make everything go away. So now he's trying to get beyond the NDA and raise money to be able to fight this in the court of law. That's what Crowder's been doing. The pattern I see is, okay, you're out here, you're saying things that I don't like, or I want to control you. I'm going to use whatever means I have to control you and to control the narrative. With the wife, it's the car. Now he wants to sue the wife. With the former employee, it's these documents and lawsuits and NDAs. That's kind of what's going on. Now, let's get to the last piece here. More from Gerald. Again, 32 minutes. That was the episode that he did. I'll link to that in the box. And then it's a whole big thread, okay, about other things. So Hillary's father, that's the wife. He says, per Hillary's father and Hillary's group text thread, here's a message liked by Hillary. The extortion scheme involved assembling a team to destabilize Stephen. Now, what they're going to talk about is the guy you just saw talking about a lawsuit, Jared and Hillary meeting in Atlanta to talk about Stephen potentially, maybe even write a book. And they're going to say, oh, that right there, that's the conspiracy we're talking about, right? So here we go. Hillary and Jared met in Atlanta to discuss their strategy and took this picture. Now, you can see that's them right there at the table. And then there's something right there on the table. It says how he changed my mind. And we all know that Crowder, or you may not know, that Crowder is known for changing my mind when he goes to college campuses, sets up a little table, and then gets into debates with the students and whatever. Okay, so that could have been a proposal for a book or something talking about Crowder, because they have a mutual quote unquote enemy. Jared's being harassed legally before this whole how we changed my mind thing came out. And then you have Hillary going through the divorce. And then you have Crowder using this platform to harass her, to control her, to bully her, trying to get the kids, using lawyers against her, all kind of stuff. And then we're going to get to the part where Hillary's being paid a not settlement, but a temporary settlement during the divorce process. We're going to get to how much that is and why it kind of makes sense for that to happen. All right. And then here's more. Per Jared's text, any scenario where Hillary and I team up is the end of him. It's his worst nightmare. Watch the real fear enter his eye when Tim asked the question. And then there's more. Jared to Hillary. I think there's a scenario where several of us will be willing to attest to all that. We're going to skip forward a little bit. We're going to get to the dollar amount. So check this out. You may have seen these public claims about hardships. Fact, Hillary is paid $25,000 a month by Stephen Crowder. Okay, so let's talk about that part, right? The $25,000 a month for, I guess you would say, temporary spousal support, child support, although there's been no judgment ruled because the divorce is still ongoing and there's still probably a custody battle happening. Now, understand this. I'm going to just close on this note. For anybody out there going through a divorce, for anybody out there dealing with anything like this at all, listen, you want to be the track con, you want to be the guy that has a stay-at-home wife and you control everything. Okay, check it out. When the divorce happens, which is going to happen half of the time, when the divorce happens, you are on the hook for all the expenses. How are you going to go to a judge and say, hey, check it out. I was married to my wife and she never worked. It's been however many years, 5, 10, whatever years. She never worked. We said she'll be a stay-at-home mom. She got twin boys, and I want to get custody, but I want her to go out there and work, and I don't want to pay her no money. The judge is going to be like, look, you're Stephen Crowder. You told her to be a stay-at-home mom. You're going to pay her X amount of money until there's a divorce. Then it's going to be a settlement as far as potential spousal support, alimony, child support. That'll be what happens. You said that you wanted to be a stay-at-home. You can't change and be like, well, now she got to go work. That's not how that works. And you filed and you left. So what's going on? What's really happening? Now, I'm not sure if he filed or she filed. I think he had left, and maybe he filed after, or maybe she filed. It doesn't really matter. And here's something else. The money that he's paying her will also go to lawyers that will fight him. Yeah, because he has lawyers on her. Again, if you are Steven Crowder and you got all this money and you're using your lawyers against your stay-at-home wife who has no job and no money, no resources, no family in the area, no nothing, they're not going to just let you bully her like that. They're going to say, okay, you have a lawyer. It's only fair for you to pay for her lawyers as well. And she has the little kids, so pay for that as well. And she's got to live somewhere, so pay for that too. That's how this whole thing goes. That's how it is. But know this, before you get into a marriage, this kind of thing can happen. It can happen. It's not fair. You don't like it? Okay, well, check it out. That's marriage in the West. That's having kids in the West. And I know that, you see a big dollar amount, 25,000. I read that she turned down 5 million because of the whole kids and all that, but different story. Anyway, you see the big number, but it's even worse when you are a middle class guy or a poor guy. You got guys losing their whole shirt, winding up homeless with nowhere to go, living in their car at best over divorces. But you got to understand this can happen to you before you get into it. So make a good decision. If you want to get married, okay. I'm not saying don't get married. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying just, be single, living a life, but know there's risks involved, and don't start crying when the risks happen to you. If you heard my words, if you heard other guys' words and you still chose to get into it, okay. But understand the courts are what they are. They're not going to change anytime soon. You wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You wanted to be a track con husband. Okay. When it ends, which is going to end half of the time, this may be your fate. And that's pretty much all I got. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.